So we have a very unusual webinar today. So I always am the one who is interviewing people, but today we are the presenters. So Xculture is one of the clients of Xculture, I guess. And so we will be talking about the Xculture Academy program. And so we have here the whole not the whole, but some of the lead people from the administrative team. And I guess I can still be in the role of the interviewer, so I'll let you guys talk, because at this time you're doing all of the administrative work and you know better how all this works, how the company is run, from advertisement to recruitment to managing everyday operations. I'll do quick introductions. So we have here Dr. Leilani Baumanis. So she's a professor at Lynn University in Florida and also Johnson & Wales University in Florida, at least at this time. And she's the one who is in charge of the Xculture Academy program, as well as also the Xculture Global Business Week and Symposium, and then all kinds of other things. But today she's representing here the Xculture Academy program. And then we have her trusted lieutenants, Rafael, Annette, and Leon. Rafael is in Brazil. Annette, you are in Ghana, right? Okay, Kenya, sorry.
Kenya.
Yes, I'm in Kenya.
And Leon is in South Africa. And so they are each responsible for different aspects of the business. And so I'll just say that maybe 2 words how this whole academy program came about. But then, so students, if you have any questions, you can ask them at any time. And then I assume there is a little presentation, but long story short, you all know what Xculture is. And so originally it was designed for MBA students and business students at universities. But pretty much from the very beginning, we started getting requests from mainly professors who would ask if their children can participate. So the story normally would go with have a child, 16 years old, 17 years old, 15 years old, will be going to college soon, would like to get some experience. Can he or she participate in Xculture? Very smart, goes to a very good school, gets all good grades. Can he please or she please participate? And so for a long time, we would say no, because there is a big difference in age, expectations. So we thought it's primarily for the older students. But then maybe 4 years ago, we thought, why not give it a try and see what happens? And so the first time we did it, we allowed children from ages 9 to 17 participate in the academy track. At that time, I had my own child. One was 9 and the other one was 12 at that time, I believe. And so they both participated, and actually it worked very, very well. So they learned a lot. They seemed to have fun. They would often wake up, at an early hour or stay up very late because they had a team meeting. So they had to learn about the concept of time zones and, like little things like how to write an email and things like that. And so the concept proved that it worked. And so we started experimenting with different age group, with different formats. Like, for example, the first time when we did it, the only client the students could choose was Design Your Dream School. So if you can go back to school and design your own school, what would your school look like? Building, teachers, program. Then the second time we also added one company that was making chocolate and the other company was making toys. And so we thought it would be more fun for the kids, for the younger ones, to design toys and chocolate. But we had an avalanche of complaints at that time. So the students were saying, just because we're younger, it doesn't mean that you have to treat us like children. So we want to have access to all of the company challenges, and we want to be like real university students. And so for the past 2 years, maybe a little bit more, we basically treat them like regular students. So even though they're younger and even though they're in the younger teams, but otherwise they are more or less in the same program. And so we're still very much experimenting both with the design of the program, but also with the ways to advertise, to reach out the audience. One of the big challenges obviously is that unlike at the university level, where the students come with professors, and so all we need to do is just to inform the colleagues at the Academy of International Business, professors, that we have this project, and so they enroll and then they bring their students. When it comes to the non-university participation, there is really no academy of, motivated parents or academy of school teachers, where you have all of the teachers of the planet, on that list. So that's obviously a challenge, but we experimenting, it's going very well. And I hope we have a few students here from the academy track. And so that's the main program. Oh, and in addition also, so it's for the younger participants, but also for the older participants who are not students. So likewise, from the very, very beginning, we would get a lot of inquiries from friends of students who participated in Xculture, who say, I hear my friend did this program. Can I please also do it? I think it will help me with my, I don't know, promotion, or maybe I will be applying for a new job and it would be nice to have that kind of experience. I'm not a university student, so I cannot participate as a student, but can I enroll individually? And so pretty early, we started allowing those people to participate, and they showed wonderful, great experience, performance. Many of them would be much older. Some of them have established jobs, but they just wanted to have that international experience. And so we also allow now non-student, we call them professionals, non-student adults who are not at universities who can participate individually. And so I'm gonna stop here. So I'm not sure if you guys plan to do any presentation, or we will go, okay. Dr. Baumanis, I'll transfer the reins to you. Let me make you the co-host, and so let you run the show now. But I do have a few questions that I wanted to ask you, and then I'll monitor the questions from the students as well.
Okay. Okay. So good morning from Miami. I'm actually, it's 10 o'clock in the morning in Miami. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. As Dr. Taras said, I am the newly appointed co-director of Academy. This is actually only my second semester with Academy, although I've been participating with Xculture for about 10, 11 years now. I also am a university professor, and I do teach mostly at the, well, now at the graduate level. A little bit about Academy. I joined Academy full-time 2 semesters ago. And actually, I think in the 2 semesters that, that I've been, we pivoted a little bit, and hopefully what we've done is working. So actually, I co-created with my team social engagement that would enhance the experience of Academy students. I'm going to let Annette and Leon talk about that in a little bit. But the social engagement piece that we co-created was for the purpose of creating a more interesting and engaging and really a much better active learning environment for Academy students, and for the whole purpose of retention. So as Dr. Taras mentioned, we don't actually have a venue where we can recruit students through a institution where, you know, we actually have more of a pulse, or actually a pull strategy, right? Well, where we have to go out and find our students. And the challenge for us is that most of our students actually come from developing and underdeveloped countries. And a lot of them have financial challenges. And then the other challenge that we're experiencing is we don't have a lot of participants in developed countries. I think also that more of our challenges is in retention. The quality of the education that we're providing, or the quality of the experience that we're providing, is really, I think, is exceptional. It's at par with university students. The social engagement piece, I would have to say, is superior to that of the students. The university students, I know that university students are working with us now, but we have co-created activities that really, it recreates the Xculture experience. So in terms of offerings, I think that we are at par of where we should be. The challenge that we're having is that once we recruit our students, we have retention problems. And I guess I'm gonna let my team actually embellish that and talk about why we think that these are happening, and then what you can do as Xculture project managers to help us kind of figure that piece out. So I'm gonna let my team now take it away with their PowerPoint, but let me just introduce them really quick. So Raphael is my number two. I always call him number two. He runs the operations of Academy at this point. We've onboarded him. I think he's almost at 100%, thank goodness, because Dr. Taraz and I are extremely busy with other pieces. We also created another program called Brand Ambassadors. And brand ambassadors are really our representatives out in the virtual world and then also in their network. And the idea behind brand ambassadors is to create connections with communities that they themselves know. So for example, Annette is in Kenya, Leon is in South Africa. Us being here in the United States, we don't have the pulse check that we need in order to understand how the school systems, how the after school infrastructures, who is really deserving of a scholarship. So those are the things that we have outsourced to our brand ambassadors, and they're doing an exceptional job. So Annette is actually the lead for the brand ambassadors, and we have a team of, I want to say about 15, 20 now, right, Annette? Yeah, so we're building that. And then Leon in South Africa I've had the pleasure of working with Leon for 2 semesters, but she is actually taking a lot of leadership roles with us. Right now, she's the representative in charge of, she's a senior coach in charge of the cooking show. But she does a lot more for Academy than I even know. Raphael is the one who manages all of that. So she's going to share with you all the things that she's done for us. Okay, so I'm going to let my team take it away. I know you have a PowerPoint, so there you go.
Thank you very much, Dr. B and Dr. Vas, for that good introduction. I am sure now the audience knows what Exculture is and what is expected of a consultancy team, because when you pick us, that is Exculture Academy, as your client company, you will ideally be our consulting teams to help us grow, expand, retain, and identify. Like, you're actually going to create a report for us or a proposal for us to be able to implement what we think it works, all the ideas that you are going to suggest to us. And we will we'll be very, very happy to implement your ideas. So Dr. B talked about the extracurricular activities that we do, the virtual activities. I personally am in charge of the virtual tours where we get students, the students themselves from the academy to actively participate in showcasing monuments and like places, the places in their particular respective regions, places of interest. They take us through what living in their country feels like. And we get to learn a lot of culture and people and politics and ideally history about the places. So we do this so we can be able to engage the students and they do not get bored alongside the activities they have to do with the Exculture program. And they also don't get bored with the program, because sometimes maybe too much work without play gets a little bit boring. Leon does the same thing with the virtual cooking class. I'll later talk about that. But in the meantime, I will talk about the art class that we have. The students themselves create art pieces and they create poems and everything that we post on our social pages. And students get to actively comment on them, talk about the poems that have touched their minds, talk about the movies they've watched. We have a server called Discord where we say that is where the party happens. Like, it's always busy. And the vlogs, you get to at least get to live to see how a person lives a day in their lives. Someone records their activities, like from morning to evening, from when you wake up to when you go to bed, what you do, what you've like what you like doing, what you enjoy, and all that. All these activities, like Dr. B earlier mentioned, are to make the students get engaged in the program, and they get to ideally enjoy the program, because X-Culture is an experience. It's not just a program that is just offered.
And Annette, all of these programs are basically new, right? So like when I was running the program, it was all about you do the theory training, then we put you on the team, and it's all about business. And then you started experimenting with the cooking shows, virtual picnics last semester, but now all of a sudden there is the art program, there is the virtual sites, or virtual country visits. Like so much is going on. I'm like, Leone is posting all those wonderful questions online, and there is so much discussion. I mean, this is very, very new, right? So that's like the first semester, most of those things.
Well, the idea is not only to get them familiar with how to work collaboratively with their global virtual teams, but also to teach them what it's like to be from Nepal or from the Netherlands. I believe last year the tours included a tour of Nepal where we actually got to see the Himalayas behind them. We also got to tour a small city in the Netherlands where the students showed us how they were all in the Middle Ages, they were all something else. And today it's like the Gap, I know for the cooking shows, like learning about the different spices of India. And, the spice trade dates all the way back to, 1000 AD. And today you can see those spices still inspire and create such, flavorful experiences for the students around the world. I mean, you and I were saying like, wow, American food has barely any spices compared to Indian spices.
But the last one, the Czech, what was it, from the Czech Republic, the cookies that the girl made? I mean, that was wonderful. And what I liked most is that it's not all about food. I mean, the students talk about anything and everything during that meal preparation. So that's a little about politics, a little about COVID, a little bit about school, a little bit about music. So that's very interesting.
And the art that Ania put together, I mean, there was a piece there that I would literally buy. I mean, do you guys remember the, I think it was a bird of some sort, beautiful colors, beautiful forms. Like these students actually have a venue where they can show their artistry and their creativity. So that's what we love about what we're doing right now, the social engagement piece.
Also, regarding the social engagement, I also want to add that we have the PENPO program. So if these students are a little bit shy to engage in the social media groups, we try to get together two students so they can exchange emails and talk with them with themselves to know each other. So yes, we have that too.
We're gonna see if anybody gets married in the next 10 years.
Well, sooner or later. But in terms of the PENPO program, so once you connect the students, you don't really monitor their communication, right? So you allow them to, as long as everyone's comfortable and they are, everything's going well, then you'll allow them to talk about whatever they want to discuss, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you talk more about the art program? So there was a question here, how do I join the art program? And that's the one that I kind of missed. So I've been to the cooking shows, virtual picnics, sites, virtual country tours. Sure. But can you talk a little bit more about the art program? So what exactly is that? And it seems like it's something that people are very interested in.
It was amazing, Dr. Vass. I am sure you would have ideally bought the peacock painting. It was an art, like someone drew a peacock and painted it.
Actually, I think I have a lot of space here on my wall, and it would be nice to. So, no, I'm serious. That would be a nice conversation piece. When we I can talk about a painting from the Extracurricular kid. So,
yeah, rough it up. Yeah, find that painting and see where it is, and then see if we can purchase it for Dr. Voss.
Yes,
I will pay for it.
There was also a lady dancing. Someone drew her and painted, like they drew and colored with a pencil and colors. I don't know whether it was crayons or water markers or something, but it was amazing. It was beautiful. So what happens, guys, with the art program is we have very many talented people. All of us are talented and we're gifted in different ways. I will not tell you that I can't even draw my face, but there's someone who can literally draw my face with my specs and my hair and everything. So in the art program, those who cannot draw, but they're talented in a poetic way, they write poems and they post it on the social media. Well, they run it with our social media person. He's called Jaron. He's not here, but when you get into the program, I think you know Jaron, those who have been connecting on Discord and all other social media pages. So you run it through Ania, who runs it through Jaron, and then it gets posted. Then if you're talented with painting, drawing, and all that, you can also draw something and run it through the people who are running with the art program, and then it gets posted on our social media pages. And in a way, it also promotes your work and it grows your talent, because we're not here just to learn about basics of international business. It's the main idea why we are here, but we are here to get an experience that we are not able to forget. So yes, that is ideally the idea of the art program. You get to showcase your talent and you get to enjoy the program. Yes, Raphael.
I found the image. Let me share my screen.
Show us the image.
Awesome.
And
Can you see it?
It's
Not yet.
Oh,
There it is.
wow, that's beautiful. So,
Yeah.
so it exists in what, like a physical form, or is it all online? Like if I wanted to buy the actual physical painting,
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Actually, we need to ask the painter. It's Sam Reed.
That's actually very beautiful. I would put that one on the
Yeah.
wall. So this is beautiful.
Yeah, I think she did it on canvas.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
There is also another kind of things here. Let me show here.
So is this our Discord?
Yes.
Okay. Raphael, our Jaren still has to show me or teach me how to use Discord.
Yet another
Actually, I realized Raphael is a pro in Discord. If you have a one-on-one with him, I am sure you will enjoy it. He taught me how to use Discord.
Okay. Yeah. So this is our social media sharing site. It is a closed group. So only participants of Academy are able to access it. Also, Jaren is kind of our virtual police. He's very good at monitoring safety and security for our students, especially because we're, working with underage children. So Jaren and Tejas and Raphael are very in sync with the security processes. In fact, Ania had done a video vlog, and I think it was it YouTube gave us a security violation notice, and Jaren was
like some music from
yeah, there was a clip of the music.
Oh, happens all the time. Yeah, we had a couple of times where I was interviewing one of our company clients, and in his background the radio was playing some music. So the whole webinar got banned because of that music streaming into the microphone, even though that was not even part of the webinar itself. It was just some background, noise.
Yeah. And it caught it. Yeah. So anyway, Jaren fixed it for us and he clipped it out and it was all taken care of. But, my team, oh my God, they're so amazing. They do such a great job of taking care of us and taking care of our students. It's just an amazing experience.
Yep.
So Annette, I think you should use the PowerPoint just to demonstrate to students what it's like. But Dr. Bassi, you have something?
So just to remind you, we still do have a lot of questions for you. So we want to talk a little bit about advertisement, a little bit about recruitment, a little bit about the challenges that the program faces, so that the students who are here, so they are here to help us. And so we want to inform them of the challenges. So if you have any slides, please do go ahead. But I do have a bunch of questions from the students for you that we would like to answer in the next 30 minutes.
So just go through them quickly, Annette, so that maybe it will answer a lot of the questions already, and then we'll answer other questions that they haven't gotten answers
But
to.
before we go to the slides, one quick question though. I keep getting them, like literally probably like 25 emails in the last week. So the university students hear about all of the programs that you do for the kids. And so the professors and the students are asking how they can join you. Like, for example, the art program, or for example, there was this email from one professor from New Jersey. So she says that she believes it would be a very valuable experience for her students to do that kind of non-business component as well. So is it open to the university students? If not, are you planning to open it in the future? If so, can they join it? Because these are all cool things. And I know we don't want to have 500 people in the virtual potluck, dinner, because it will be unmanageable, but I mean, can we?
I have an idea. And so this is something that you and I are actually working on. So in the summer, this summer, we are going to spin the Academy Professional at a much different level, right? So we're gonna basically build a whole new team to run and manage and grow Academy Professionals. And I think it would be appropriate because these are kids, and my concern is that I don't want young students to be interacting with older students, and I'd really like to keep them separate. So when we spin professionals, I think that it would be appropriate to then cohort professionals and virtual in a social engagement piece. And then I think age-wise, that would be appropriate. But after this summer, I think that we'll be able to build that. You're muted, Vas.
So one of the challenges for the university students, obviously, is that all of these programs are still experimental, one, and two, they sort of rely on a more kind of intimate, closer group interaction, like when we have a cooking show or when we have a virtual picnic. I mean, it kind of works well when you have about 20 people, maybe, where everybody can see everybody. If we open it to the entire Exculture, where we have 5,000 university students, it may just become too big. But I wonder if we should maybe have some sort of, I don't know, like separate tracks or separate, I don't know. Like
that's the idea.
It seems like the demand is there, so we just need to think about maybe.
That's the idea, and I think that it would actually be an add-on for professionals because now they're networking with not just other professionals, but soon to be graduates. And you don't know, I mean, some of the university students could network with people who are already in the professional field, and that could lead to positions for them. Exactly. So, and that's the goal. But, like I said, with the Chinese person with a plate on the stick, we got to make sure that this is spinning, by itself first before we go off and do another project. Okay, so I'm going to let my team go through this quickly.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about the program. So again, most of the students watching this are university students, and they don't know really how the academy track works. So tell us more.
So the program design, ideally we work in three, we have three, what do I call them? 3 phases of training. There is the theoretical phase that runs for 4 weeks. The practical phase that runs for 8 weeks, and the post-project reflection phase that runs in two phases. That is 4 weeks. That is 2 weeks and 2 weeks. So what happens in the theoretical phase is that students get to learn about cross-cultural communication, problem solving in terms, team leadership, online collaboration tools, the art of writing a winning business proposal, plagiarism and academic referencing, and then the basics of international business. That is, they get tested every week to see if they can be able to cross over to the practical phase, because the real project is in the practical phase where students get placed in teams of 5 to 7, each from a different country. And they work on a real business consulting project for a real company, a real existing company. They deal with real problems of global virtual teams, like time zones, like different languages, like all these problems. And then they get to communicate online in English is our language of communication, official language of communication. And then they also get to present live webinars with company clients. So the ones that get to present to company CEOs are the ones that have really performed well, whose projects are really, really outstanding. We mark these projects, and we select the good projects. The ones with the best projects are the ones that get the chance to speak, to present to the company directors, CEOs, and all that. So I will maybe request Raphael to talk about the two phases, that is the video presentation and then the post-project reflection.
And I would note right away that university students are not required to do a video presentation. Some professors may ask to do that in class, and we also offer you to do the presentation as an option, but it's not a requirement. So for the academy students, it is a requirement, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. Just to complement on that regarding the practical training, the students are put into teams, and they build reports regarding a company. So they do the industry analysis, the marketing selection, research, and the operational management to accomplish the goals of the company. Okay. For the video presentation, the students are requested to record a video presenting the reports. Usually, it's 7-minute video, right? If I'm not correct.
5 to 8, maximum 8, minimum 5.
Oh, thank you. So they sent to us, and we review them and grade. And the best ones, they going to do a live presentation for teachers and also for the CEOs. And then we have the post-project reflection. It's when we have a time to have a talk with the students regarding the program, what they felt when doing, what's the good points and what is the bad points of our program. So we have a talk, and also we ask them to create a summary of the topics.
Awesome. So we will talk about, we will go straight into the challenge. Like Dr. Leilani mentioned earlier, we believe we have it sorted. Like we have a good program. It is an excellent program. Everyone who hears or who sees or who attends this program would immediately register their kids. I have many friends who have registered their kids to do this program because it is a good program. We all know it's good. So we have 90% of the building blocks, such as the recognizable and trusted brand, an effective program model, a strong data collection systems. And we're now looking for ways to fine-tune the program. That is where now you come in. So the biggest and most immediate challenge we face is retention and recruitment. Xculture offers great value to the students and teachers, and enrollment would be much higher if more people knew about the program. Like I said earlier, everyone who has experienced this program or knew about the program, they immediately do onboard their students, like the professors, the parents, and friends. You hear about the program and they just on board. So Xculture's value lies in the variety of participants. It's important, and it's important that students are from different countries. Our goal is to reach more students from all over the world with the aim of learning international business by doing international business. Our main goal is...
Yeah, Annette, can you also add a few words related to recruitment? So since this is something I've been actually doing, so the biggest challenge I see is, and hopefully the students will be able to crack us this code, is when you do advertisement online as we do, or any other advertisement these days, people on average look at it for about 1, maybe 2 seconds. For example, we did the research for our own advertisement. So on average, people look at our ads for about 1.2 seconds on Facebook and Instagram. And that's normal. That's basically everybody else sees the same numbers. And so in that 1 to 2 seconds, the people make sort of a quick judgment as to whether or not they want to read and look deeper, or if they just keep scrolling. And so the problem is that when you advertise something like the Extracurricular Academy, it is impossible to understand what we are offering in those 1.2 seconds. Like, for example, if I were selling, let's say, for example, cell phones, right? I would put a picture of cell phone and I would say cell phone, mobile phone, and everybody would understand immediately what it is. And if they're interested in it, they would keep reading and they would, you know, find out about the price or specs. If this was, let's say, a private school, I would say it's a private school with 2 words. You can read them in half a second and everybody would understand what the product is. If they're interested in a private school, then they would keep reading to see what the location is, what the prices are, things like that. Online course, same thing. You just put 2 words, people understand. When it comes to Exculture, it's not a school, it's not a course, it's something else. And it seems like we need at least 30 seconds, maybe even a minute, just to explain what we are offering. So we will offer you training in international business. Then we will place you on an international team. There will be people from other 5, 6, 7 countries. You will complete a project for a real client working across time zones, across cultural differences. You will get a certificate at the end. Like it's a complicated, different project. Like there is really nothing like this. It's not an online course per se, right? It's not a school and it's not summer camp. It's not, you know, nothing familiar. And so we still haven't figured out how we can present it in, you know, 2, 3 words so that people, when they kind of read it, you know, in the first second, they understand immediately what is being offered, so that those who potentially might be interested, they read more. Because most of the people who see the ad and don't engage with it, it's not that they're not interested in it, or maybe most are not, but I mean, many probably would be interested in the product. But I assume that given that they spend only 1 to 2 seconds reading it, they never even understood what's being offered. And so how do you use online advertisement of the product in a case when you need at least half a minute to explain what you're offering and people are willing to give you only a couple of seconds? So that's a big, big challenge that I don't know how to go about.
And actually, in speaking with Leon, are you still here? Leon? Yes. Okay, so I want to talk to Leon about this because I think Leon, in the beginning, when we started talking about building the brand ambassadorship program, my question to you was, how did you find us and why did you join us? And I think that in the process of me meeting new people and having had the same conversation over and over, and Leon is in that age group of students that we want to recruit. What was it that you told me, Leon, that I thought, okay, this is where we need to, this is the direction of where we need to go in terms of marketing?
Okay, so I found the Instagram ads, so that's how I first found out about Exculture. And then, to be honest, it was actually the name, just like Exculture just sounded so intriguing. So I was like, okay, I definitely have to go and find out more about this. And I think basically in like the first sentences of like the website, I was totally sold. So I think it's more, Exculture is like, how do I say this? You need specific people. I think that's the thing that's hard, maybe while we're finding it hard to recruit people, is because it needs such a, I almost want to say like high level of people who want to learn and actually become global citizens. I would say that's like our issue almost.
Okay, so you're saying target market.
Yeah.
So target market and reaching that target market may be our solution, which I think might make sense, Vas, because when we are reaching out through Facebook or Instagram, we're blanketing the whole world. But what Leon just said is like
the age, maybe some interest, but it's very, very generic.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, for the students, maybe you can think of better ways to advertise, like maybe, I don't know, through some influencers. If you know anybody who's maybe running like a YouTube channel that focuses on global education, for example, or global issues. I suppose people who watch those videos, they might be more interested in something like Exculture. Maybe there are ways to reach teachers. Again, like there is really no academy or mailing list of teachers, at least, you know, that I don't know of. But maybe there is something, like maybe there is like in a specific country, maybe there is some sort of a magazine that all teachers receive, or maybe there is like a mailing list, or maybe groups. We hear a lot of comments about homeschooled kids. Obviously, you know, many of them are very, very smart, and the reason they are homeschooled because the school, like regular school, is too slow for them. And so I guess Exculture would give that additional kind of social interaction element. But then again, how do you find them? How do you inform them? So we have quite a few of them in the program already, but it's just because they saw the ad on Facebook. But I wonder if there are some sort of, I don't know, like maybe homeschool parents, you know, discussion groups, or maybe there are some other ways to sort of get closer, you know, directly to that audience.
Right.
It seems like there is a lot of interest. We just don't know how to find them.
Well, the thing that I also want to add, remember that we have a brand ambassador team that we just recently formulated. And the idea was that we would recruit brand ambassadors who've already gone through the program, who are probably certified coaches, and who know the kind of student who will be successful in completing our program from where they come from. So for example, Leon is actually a homeschooled kid. So Leon came to us with several ideas of how to reach homeschooled students in South Africa. Now, it's different in every country, but if we can somehow build a team of brand ambassadors who understand what we do, and then also have a relationship with the people in their own communities, I think that that's where we can bridge that. But then I'm wondering, you know, and this is for the university students, do you guys see anything else where we can create that bridge in another way? I think there's a student who has his hand up, Bas.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have it. Yeah. Don't see one now, but yeah. So, but yeah, that's a very good point. And one of the things that we did notice that education systems are very, very different in different countries.
Yes.
It's even more so than, you know, clothing or food. It almost seems like everybody, like for example, we have many participants from Ireland, and apparently they have to take 1 year or 1 semester to do something outside school. And so Exculture is a suitable sort of option for them. But then again, that's only one country. Others don't really have that. So it's very, very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we've already talked about most of these, right? Word of mouth. We've got the regional brand ambassadors.
So that's where we need input. But if I may, then the next challenge, and I suspect it would be also in the slides, but just to get right to the point, retention. And here, I don't know what's normal. So for example, this semester, we got close to 2,000 applications.
Right.
But then many of those people who applied, and applications, again, if we have any academy students here, you know that it's a very time-consuming process for us. So we do ask a lot of questions about, you know, background of the kid, interests, grades. So it does take probably half an hour, if not longer, just to complete the application. Not to mention that sometimes if the student is applying for a stipend, we also require recommendation letters, transcripts. So it takes a long time. And so we got a total of about close to 2,000 applications from 102 countries, I believe. So that was good. But then a few days later, when the program starts, many people never show up. So it's almost as if either they applied and thought it would be nice to learn something about international business, but then by the time it's actually time to do something, they got busy with school, with, you know, life, I don't know. Or maybe parents signed up the kids and then the kids said, oh, mom, I don't want to do it. It's too much work. But we don't know why. I suppose it's always the case. I've been to many webinars, many online courses myself, including courses like, for example, offered by Harvard, for example. And so you would see that originally there are so many people who sign up, but then you come to the first lecture and there are like 8 people in the audience. So I suppose it's a problem for everyone, not just us. But in the end, a good half doesn't even show up. And it's not because they didn't like it, because they didn't even try it. So they just apply and then never act on it. And so again, I'm not sure if we're making, you know, doing something wrong, or if there is a better way to do it. So I don't know, that's one of those kind of little frustrating things. I mean, obviously we do lose a lot of people because they don't pass the 4 theory tests, but that's a whole different story. So we have to be very selective so that only the best and most prepared people are placed on teams. It's a team-based project. It's not like I sell a book and I don't care what you do with it as long as you pay for it. No, this time we want people who will be good team members. And so if the person is either not fluent enough in English, or perhaps not diligent enough or disciplined enough to, you know, to work week after week on those theory things. So we don't want those people. So some of them, we kind of reject their applications on our own initiative. But why some never even show up after they apply? So that's something that, are we doing something wrong, or is it a normal thing or something else? Yeah.
Um,
I see there is a comment from Rabia, connecting with universities would really help. So Rabia, importantly, maybe we didn't explain that well. We do have a university program for the university students, and that one is working very well. So we've been growing numbers, and we basically cover the whole world. And so that part is not a problem. So there are easy ways for us to reach just about any professor. It's difficult to maybe, reach professors in some of the countries where maybe English is not, widely spoken, or where the professors are not members of the Academy of Management or Academy of International Business. But overall, for the university students, it's not a problem at all. And we have a lot of those participants. We don't even need to do any advertisement to have more people than we need. The question is, how do we reach, or how do we offer this program for non-students, pre-college teens and professionals? And so those are much, much more difficult to, to reach. Those who participate are always very happy. So we have extremely high satisfaction rate. So we know that the product works. The question is, how do we inform the potential participants about it?
There's another idea that I've been kicking around, and we talked about this before, Boss, you and I, but there's a STEM program for teenagers that is embedded in a lot of university programs. For those of you guys who don't know STEM, it's science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's targeted for females, right, to get engaged in those industries where there's not a lot of females. And I think that they recruit at the high school level. So for us, is it possible that we can do a partnership with international affiliated universities who want to recruit students who are, interested in doing international business? And then we would maybe partner and do kind of a collaboration in the summertime to see if a student would be interested in engaging in this kind of educational environment. I mean, that's just another one of my thoughts, but that would, again, need a lot of building up.
Yeah. There is an interesting comment from Rabia, again, contacting schools might help. So Rabia, that's actually what we started with. So when we launched the program in 2016, at that time I was, from this group, I was the only one kind of managing it. And so what I did as the first step, I hired 42 ex-culture graduates, so former ex-culture students, in 42 main cities around the planet, from Delhi and Beijing to New York and Boston. And so the job was to go school to school and recruit teachers. At that time, ex-culture was all about universities. And at the university level, we work with professors. And so my idea was that it would be the same, the same thing here. So we will go and talk to teachers, and the teachers or school principals or headmasters or whatever they're called in different countries, they will then enroll the entire school or a subject, a class. And so inevitably we had the same reaction, and my heart was breaking when I saw that. They always said, oh, this is so great. This is so wonderful. It would be so good for our kids. But how do we really incorporate that in the school program? Can we make it part of the geography class or English class, or would it be like an after-school club, like, like basketball or chess, and here it would be international business? And so in most of the cases, they loved the idea. They thought it would be great for the students. But unlike university professors who have a lot of freedom with how they teach their classes, I can add something like this to my international business class. Dr. Baumanis can add something like this to her international business class. We don't even need to tell anyone. So we just make it part of our course. But at the school level, there is a curriculum, there is the, the program they must follow, and they cannot just add something like this to a class. But then if you want to do it outside the main sort of, course schedule, then it becomes much more complicated. So they didn't really know how to go about it. And so we do have a few schools, like for example, this semester, I think it's like 4 or 5 schools are participating. But in all of those cases, that's almost like an after school club where one of the teachers kind of volunteers and says, okay, well, I teach basketball, I teach the drama club, I teach the, chess club, I'm going to do international business club. And in many cases, it would be like 8, maybe 7 students. And those are kind of volunteers who want to participate. It's a viable model, but somehow talking to schools, as I said, I almost wish they just said no, in which case I would know that they're not interested. But here we have this kind of interesting paradox where they're very interested, but have no easy way to make it part of the curriculum. And so that's even worse than if they just simply said, no, we are not interested. So
and the other thing too, what we find is that if the grades are not connected to it, if they don't find any value in it in some other way, that they have a tendency not to continue with the program. I would venture to say that that's probably why of those 2,000 students, that most of them don't start, because the value proposition isn't there for them immediately, because people are very short-term sighted. But I think that and there is a comment here, if we can somehow convey the importance of this, and he or she is saying, will this help you get a job or an internship, do a cost benefit analysis with their time. Going back to the marketing pieces, it's very difficult to convey that in 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
And back to what Leon said, is like, you almost have to ensure that you have already a group of students who are global minded, who are global citizens, and they already have it embedded in their mind that, oh, this is going to take me places. How do I join? Yeah. We were very lucky to have found Leon, or for Leon to have found us. But now, how do we get more kids like Leon who see the value in it without us having to, do a song and dance for 30 minutes because we only have 1.5 seconds?
And importantly, we do offer all of those benefits. So we've had now students who got into college because of or at least Exculture played a big role. I must have written, I don't even know how many recommendation letters for the students who applied. We got actually a few students from the Exculture program who got into my university. So in terms of jobs, at least for the younger ones, that's a little bit early because, they're still too young. But for the professionals and the university students, many of them get jobs because of Exculture recommendations. Some of them even get jobs at the companies that the Exculture works with. So all of that obviously is offered, but how do you convey that in a quick few seconds while people are looking at the ad? So that's something we're still sort of struggling with.
Yes. So
yeah, go ahead, Annette. So whatever else you needed to cover, we have a few more minutes before our next webinar.
I think we pretty much covered everything. And with good things, we've highlighted our challenge. So guys, this is where we need you. This is where we need your help. We need to be able to convey the right message in the right amount, in the right amount of time. And we need to be able to attract the right kind of the mindsets that will see the value in this program. So how do we do that? That is where we need you.
So we know the product is good. We get extremely positive feedback. So we know that people who spend at least a minute looking at the ad, usually they apply, so they find it interesting. So the question is, how do we reach more people? And also we didn't ask, but I don't know, maybe there are some also suggestions related to the program design. So it seems like it's a good program. We experiment with a lot of new things every semester. But again, maybe if you have some suggestions for how to make it even better, I guess we would be very interested in hearing that as well.
Absolutely.
So I can see Rabia here says students can opt it as an optional summer internship. Pretty much how we are doing it, I think, in her school. The ambassador in each country can contact respective school just for marketing, and the decision depends on the students.
Hey guys,
I think it's
can I ask you all here, so Leilani, Leon, Rafael, Annette, so one thing we noticed is that for the academy program, so the non-university program, it seems like there is more demand for the summer than for the semesters, for the regular fall and spring. And so we don't do it in the summer just because until you all joined, it was basically all on me and it's too much time to manage it. And so I would not do it in the summer because we don't do the university track in the summer because obviously the universities are usually closed in the summer. And so I just didn't have the time and the energy to do yet another track. But I wonder if it would be the time, if it would be a good time to maybe try to run a summer track now that we have a little extra help. Because
oh my God.
it could be potentially like a virtual summer camp. Even for professionals, they usually have some, maybe holidays during that time. I don't know, maybe we should consider, like a summer school type of.
Okay, so Vas, I have to apologize to Annette live all over the world. Annette asked me if we can do this in the summer. And you know what I said to Annette? Annette, Dr. Vas and I have no time.
Well, that's precisely,
And-
no, that's true. That's, you know.
and that we're not running, because it goes with the university semester program. But if we're open to that, then that I think could be, because summer school or summer programs, this could actually be a substitute to students who perhaps have to do some kind of summer experience, because most parents, I don't want my kid just hanging around the house in the summertime.
Especially now with COVID and everything locked down and closed, and normal summer camps usually not available. At least they were not last summer. So
Right, and this does do a lot for a student's resume for application for the university. So, I mean, that if you're willing to entertain creating a standalone in the summertime, I guess that would be something that we would be willing to run.
everybody's looking at Raphael. So Raphael, do you think you can?
Right.
do it?
Oh, Raphael.
There is
Raphael, are you down?
Yeah, I think that we can do a tryout.
Maybe we can try. There is also a very interesting comment from Obed about contacting government officials about it. So maybe there are governmental programs. Obed, I had an interesting situation about a year and a half ago. So we got a phone call from India where it was by a superintendent for one of their regions. So it was not all of India, but it was one of the provinces or one of the school districts, I don't know. And they said, we want to enroll in Exculture all of the kids in our district. So can you accommodate, I think they said like 20,000 kids or something like that. And so on the one hand, I would have loved it. On the other hand, it's a kind of international program. So we have to have at least 20,000 kids from other countries, or at least one country. And we don't have that. So I wonder if there was a way to find maybe like 20,000 kids, maybe from like an American school district. In that case, obviously, that would have been immediately in tens of thousands and it would work. Mm-hmm. But I had to say no to India because we just didn't have the numbers from outside India to match that. So I don't know, it seems like a very good idea, but again, something where we might need some help and guidance. So if you have some specific suggestions, do let us know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks like we're pretty much out of time. So we have another one in a couple of minutes. We are planning, by the way, I'm not sure, Dr. Beam, you might want to join us. So Exculture does the Global Business Week twice a year, but also we do a research hackathon, like a research marathon where professors get together and then log themselves up somewhere on a campus of a university and for a few days nonstop do research. And so we didn't do it last summer because of COVID, but this year we got a lot of inquiries about it. And so we decided to try an online one. So where we connect in the morning and basically stay connected for most of the day, doing research for a few days in a row, like a research marathon. And so we have a organizing committee meeting just to see how we can do it, if we can do it, because it's always been face-to-face. So we will experiment with that. So. But yeah, so let's see what the students come up with. It's a very good product based on the satisfaction ratings after the product is over. So now the question is, how do we get it to to potential users? And so that's a very, very interesting program. So yeah, Annette, Raphael, Leon, and also Leilani to some extent. So we looked at the numbers with Raphael. So the good news is that the numbers are much, much better than what we saw in the previous semesters. So while the total numbers of participants are a little bit more and comparable, but when it comes to revenue, it's not going to make us rich. It's not going to pay all our bills, but we are definitely getting into the territory where we can consider maybe spending more on advertisement, where we can consider maybe hiring more help or paying, the volunteers a little bit. So it seems like this semester is substantially better than the previous semesters, all of them. Because again, for those who are listening, one of the challenges always is the revenue. So we have here a global organization with thousands of participants, with dozens and dozens of staff, I guess, even though some of them are unpaid.
Volunteers.
We operate literally around the entire planet, every single continent, close to 100 countries. And yet we do that almost with no budget. I mean, we do have some budget, but it's minimal. And so one of the big challenges, obviously, is how do we run it without, a huge budget. And so it looks like we're finally getting into the area where at least we have enough to pay some of the essential, operating expenses. So, but then again, if there are any grants that that can be used for a program like this, or there are any other sources of revenue, we would be very interested in hearing that, because enthusiasm and goodwill is good. It got us so far, where we are. But I mean, again, running a multinational corporation does require a little bit of revenue to do it right.
Yeah, and we want to be sustainable. We don't want to continuously, go to the parent company and say, hey, virtual, we need money to fund this or fund that. So, the whole goal of an organization such as ours is to be completely sustainable and to be a strong standalone. But I guess with that, good luck, everybody. And we hope that you help us find the solution to our challenges.
Yeah, Ahmed, I'm sorry you raised the hand. We added you, but we ran out of time. So we'll have to communicate maybe by email if you had any comments or questions, if that's okay with you. All right. Okay, thank you, everyone. So let's see what the students come up with. X-culture. Yes.
X-culture, friendship.
Yeah, friendship. Yeah, thank you. All right, bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.